In this video, I'm going to be walking you through exactly when you should be building a sales team inside your company, when I think it is way too early and could cost you a lot of money, how to manage them, how to find them, how to fire them, and finally, what specific KPIs that you should be reading so you know that they're performing. What's going on, everyone? Abuvala here, founder of Scaling with Systems, where we help online companies grow rapidly through sales funnels, paid traffic, and fully trained operational talents. And I have ramped a sales team in the past year and a half to over 35 reps, each of them closing around about 35% of the deals that they get on the phone with and collecting cash up to 60% upfront of the entire contract value. On average, we take anywhere from 15 to 20 qualified demos a day, which obviously is impossible to do with just one person. So we all know it's incredibly important to eventually be ramping a sales team, yet the number one question I get and the number one mistake that I see most entrepreneurs make is hiring a sales team too quickly or not even knowing when to hire a sales team. So if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you are the CEO or founder or potential soon-to-be founder of a business. And there's really just one thing you need to know about starting, scaling, and growing a business, and that is the most profitable use of your time is sales calls. Look, what your company is called, what your website looks like, what kind of colors you use, what your logo looks like, all of that stuff doesn't matter. What really matters that can actually grow your business and have it sustain and not be one of the 95% of businesses that fail in 5 years is that you are consistently getting new sales from new customers on a daily or weekly basis. I'm going to give it to you straight. Sales is hard. Sales is difficult. Even if you have a 30% close rate, that means that 70% of the time, people are saying no to you on the phone. There's so many little intricacies of it. You're trying to always optimize it, and then it takes up the most time in your day. So I could see how most entrepreneurs want to delegate it out as soon as possible. So if you're just starting out inside your business or you're conducting less than 10 demos a week, I think absolutely you should not be looking for a sales rep. Having a sales rep in the process when that happens, which, look, I've had my highest level clients having sales reps when they're getting one appointment a week, is the wrong thing to do because you're adding just a totally different and wild variable inside of your sales process. So when they're getting on the phone and trying to close a deal, let's say you're only having a few appointments a week, you're still kind of in that product market fit phase. Well, there's too many variables involved. Let me give you an example here. Is it the product, the reason why the sales process is not working and you're not closing and making more money? Is it the product market fit? Is it the marketing materials? Is it the actual sales process? Is it the sales scripts? Or is it the salesperson, right? And so when you add in a different variable inside of there, then all of these things become this really confusing hodgepodge of information, and you don't know if the salesperson is good or bad because you don't really have any KPIs to hold them to. For my advertising agency, Prospect Social, when we scaled it up and I finally started hiring sales reps, I was taking sales calls I think 8 to 10 hours a day. I mean, I was literally going insane for how many sales calls I was doing every single day. And I knew that my average close rate was about 35%. And I knew that my average cash collected was about $2,200. So that way, when I started hiring sales reps, I knew that if they weren't performing within at least a 30% margin of the information I just gave you a second ago, then they weren't great sales reps. One of the best decisions some of my clients have done is to let go of sales reps if they're not at that point. So if you are not absolutely losing your mind because you have so many booked appointments coming into your calendar every single day, then you are doing nobody a favor by having a sales rep. They're not getting enough appointments and closing enough deals to satisfy, what they need to do in order to live, and you're not getting close enough market feedback, and you're not actually doing everything you can to grow your business. So I would recommend letting that salesperson go. It's a difficult thing to do, but it's the best thing for both parties. Now, the question I usually get is, well, Ravi, I need to have a salesperson so that I can get to the point that we have so many booked appointments coming in a day. And unfortunately, that's just not the case. I'm going to tell you right now, you can build a business and be taking 8 to 10 sales calls every single day. The most talented entrepreneurs, the most profitable and the fastest growing companies that I know that I've worked with, they have entrepreneurs that are literally putting in insane amounts of work where in the daytime, they're taking sales calls, and in the nighttime, they're building advertising campaigns, building sales funnels, building marketing materials in order to get more booked appointments for the daytime. Yes, there is a massive amount of work that you have to do up front, but eventually you're going to get to the point, like I'm going to talk about in a second here, where you can remove yourself from that sales process and then just focus on getting more and more booked appointments. But if you do that too early, your company will fail. All right, so at this point, I'm going to assume that you already have pretty much a packed calendar every single week. You're taking 8 to 10 calls a day. You're getting off the phone at nighttime. You don't even know what time it is. You don't know what day it is. And you're like a little bit loopy, like you just did some drugs. That is when you should start hiring a sales rep. So let's talk about what that process looks like. Now, as far as finding the sales rep, you have a bunch of different options, and I'll cover that in one moment. But what's more important than finding the sales rep is the onboarding and ramping process for whoever you actually do bring on board. Most people think that they need some kind of 45 or 55 page document that covers exactly step by step what every sales rep needs. And I do think that that's valuable to have at some point. And actually, I built one for my company so that way they can get ramped up as quickly as possible. But if you wait until that happens, it'll be months after you could hire a sales rep that you actually do it. So what I recommend is as you're growing and as you, the CEO or founder, are taking all of the sales calls, all you have to do is just start recording all of your sales calls. You should be doing that anyway so you can listen back to it just like you listen back to tape if you're a professional athlete. And you should start storing it in a Google Drive or inside your CRM. When I first hired my sales reps for Prospect Social, my advertising agency, I didn't have some long document. All I did was literally give them a Google Drive with over 100 sales calls. Some of them I closed, some of them I got deposits from, some of them I lost, some of the calls told me to go F myself, whatever else it was. And I just said, hey, I don't even have time to onboard you and ramp you myself. But if you just listen to 100 of these calls and come back to me on Monday, you'll be at a great starting position to actually perform on our company. So the important thing here is don't overcomplicate the process. Once again, if you have enough time to build out like a 30-page document or all these beautiful SOPs and everything, then it's probably not the right time to hire a sales rep. That's the truth of the matter. So just give the first rep you have all of your recordings of all the calls you've done and any other information you have, like maybe they can watch your sales letter, your video sales letter, your YouTube channels, anything else that they can see so they can get a better idea of your offer. And if you get a talented enough rep that's willing to learn, they should be onboarded up and running within 30 days. And you can also tell if they're performing well because you know what your KPIs are, meaning your key performance indicators when you were closing, so you can make sure that they're getting at least close to that or working towards it in their first 30 days inside the company. The final two things I want to talk about is actually where I would recommend finding a sales rep and then managing the sales reps. So where you find the sales reps is totally up to you. Now, there's a bunch of companies out there. Some of them are my clients. Some of them are my friends that run agencies that will literally place you with a sales rep. And I think that that is a decent opportunity for you. And like, if you have no idea what you're doing and you just want someone to place a fully trained sales rep inside your company, that's an option. But I will tell you the honest to God truth. I have ramped 35 sales reps in the past year and a half. And the best sales reps I've ever had and the best sales reps my clients have ever had are not from some third-party company, but they are from previous clients or from people from your inner network. I'm not kidding with you. The reps that I have that are performing at the highest level inside of our company, when I brought them on board, they'd already been following me or were a client of mine for like a year and a half. So I didn't have to spend the time explaining to them, hey, here's who I am, here's what we do, here's what makes us better than everybody else, because they already knew all of that stuff. So instead of teaching them that, I could just give them the sales call recordings and say, hey, you saw this side of the business already. Let me show you what it's like to actually close one of these deals. And they were able to get to KPI, meaning closing deals at what I was closing at, much faster. And they believed in the vision and the goal of the company much more than some outside rep that has never even heard of you before. And I know most people watching this video are going to go, Ravi, I don't have any sales reps that follow me. There's nobody in my network that'd be willing to do that. Well, you would be shocked, okay? Some of my clients that say the exact same thing to me, let's say I have a client of mine doing a few $100,000s a month in a done-for-you advertising agency for medical spas, and he told me, oh, there's no way I could get a client, a doctor to come do sales for me. And I said, just post on your email list and see what happens. Ends up getting one of his longest-term clients coming on board as a sales rep, and not only were they closing deals better than the entrepreneur was because they were like speaking like they were another doctor to a doctor trying to sell the package, but they were even using their own referral network to bring in appointments on their own calendar. So not only were they closing more deals than the entrepreneur because of the higher closing rate, but they were getting on more qualified demos because now they were actually getting paid to take an end-to-end deal from their friend that's a doctor all the way to a client of the company. So you will be shocked sometimes about who you have in your personal network, who's been following you, and who would like the opportunity to make, $5, $10, $15, $20, $50,000 a month as a sales rep working remotely. Hey, really quickly, guys, if you are getting value out of this, if you wouldn't mind just smashing the like button and hitting subscribe, if you guys want to keep on getting updated when I put videos out like this, and if you want more people to be able to view these videos and enjoy them as much as you are, then just just take 1 second to do it. It's totally free and it would mean the world to me. All right, so the final thing I'm going to touch on is actually managing the sales team and what KPIs to look for. So at the point we're at inside of our company right now, we're at almost 8 figures in revenue. You have to understand that I'm no longer on sales calls, and that's giving me back a massive amount of time every single day to be doing things that actually help my sales team out, like building more assets or creating more marketing materials. But in addition to that, I don't even manage the sales team, because I think at some point you should actually have a sales team leader that's going to come inside of there and be listening to recordings, checking out KPIs, running daily meeting calls, hopping in and tag teaming deals, whatever else it is, that would take away from the entrepreneur's time on actually growing the business. I think anything less than 3 to 4 reps, you shouldn't have a sales team leader. But once you get above 4 reps, I think it totally makes sense for you to start looking at among the reps that you have. Once again, don't go outside of the network. Look at out of the reps you have, who there is a leader, who could step up to the plate and start managing the other sales team. And you can give them a percentage of what the entire sales team brings in. Because as a CEO, for example, as much as you probably think you're great at leading and great at sales, even just listening back to the recordings of your sales team and giving feedback, if you have 3 to 4 reps, and let's say you just want to listen to 1 call, 1 recording a day from each rep, that's 3 to 4 hours on average that you'd have to be spending every day just listening to recordings, not even giving the feedback to the sales reps as well. So really quickly, in order to respect your time and help the company grow and help people grow inside the company, I think it makes sense to hire a sales team leader and give them, 3, 4, 5% of the total cash collected from the sales team in order to be managing calls, managing sales reps, managing their emotional state, managing their physical state, and then on top of all of that, managing the kind of the flow and giving you the KPIs or giving the marketing team the KPIs so that you can make sure that everything's in alignment. I've talked a lot about KPIs inside this video, and we track over 100 KPIs inside of our company on a really beautiful dashboard that we also build out for our clients, but I don't think that's necessary for the majority of people watching this video. So KPIs in sales that I think you should care about. Number 1, obviously, what is the closing rate on calls taken? That's very, very important. Number 2, what is the dollar per call taken? And this is actually a really, really important statistic that most people don't think of. And what I mean by dollar per call taken is, let's say that you'll have 1 sales rep and they take, just for super easy numbers, 10 calls a month. And out of those 10 calls, they close 1 person for a $10,000 package. That means that they are averaging dollar per call taken $1,000. That means that every time that person gets on the phone with someone, your company is essentially making $1,000. And most people don't think of it this way, but when you start running paid ads and you know that it's costing you, let's just say, $300 in order to get your sales rep on the phone with someone, and you know that your sales rep on average is collecting $1,000 every single time they get on the phone, then that means that you are profiting $700 every single time that sales rep picks up the phone. What are you going to do at that point? Keep on giving that sales rep more calls. That is how you grow a massively profitable company. That's how you put $1 in and get $4, $7, $10 out, like a lot of my clients do. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And it can also be the reverse. You can also figure out if it's costing you $300 to get a sales rep on the call and your sales rep is collecting on average $200 every time they get on the call, then it is costing you $100. You're losing $100 every time that sales rep takes a call. And that's actually happened to us before, and we've had to take people off the calendar for that. The final few KPIs I care about is cash to revenue ratio, meaning let's say you have a $10,000 product and you have a payment plan. How much on average are your sales reps collecting up front? You might think it's great to just get everybody inside your company and you can have a 10-month payment plan for $1,000 a month. But in reality, if it's costing you more to acquire the customer and you're negative up front, unless you have some kind of outside funding from, seed investors, then you're going to be massively negative growing the company, and eventually you'll find yourself profitable, which is not what I recommend. It's not how I grow my companies, and it is no way in any shape or form how we grow our clients' companies. I think just those 3 KPIs alone, what their close rate is on calls taken, what their dollar per call taken, and what is their cash to revenue ratio is important enough and thorough enough for you to make accurate decisions on your sales team as it grows. If you want me to go much more in depth on how we're using a sales team to collect close to $1 million a month, every single month, there's a free course in the description down below I want to invite you to click on, where you can get access to over 4.5 hours of content where I walk you through how I built this business, how we're so profitable, and how we're acquiring new customers every single day on autopilot. Finally, there's going to be 2 more videos on the screen here. One's going to be whether I think you should be paying your sales reps commission or salary, and the other one is going to be how to use LinkedIn to generate enough booked appointments so that you can hire sales reps. Thanks so much for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Okay, check it out.